Good evening, everyone. Yeah, so it's a great honor to be here today in front of you to make an address on the funding gap for women entrepreneurs in Africa. So first of all, I would like to express my gratitude to the Lionesses of Africa. Melanie, thank you for all the work you are doing. And also to the government of Netherlands through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Peter, thank you very much for all the effort, for all the support you've given to the African Guarantee Fund. So we are here today for the Startup Night for Africa to support the women entrepreneurs. You've mentioned the challenges that the women they are going through in Africa, and I can tell those challenges are many. And when we see all the women today here that managed to come here today to pitch, to present your program, I can tell you those women, they are beating the odds every single day in Africa. And just to give you some statistics, because we like to say that Africa is the country of imbalances. We have so many imbalances in Africa, and sometimes we wonder how that is even possible. So the first one is participation versus contribution in economic activity. Women in Africa, they have the highest participation in economic activity in the world. In the world, women in Africa, the highest participation in economic activity. And why is that? It's because, the notion of housewife doesn't exist in Africa. It doesn't mean anything. Because when we say housewife, what we mean is the one taking care of the house. But women in Africa, in addition to taking care of the house, they always run a business on the side. They sell clothes, they sell fruit, they run a small restaurant, they sell the homemade jewelry. So meaning they all participate. So housewife doesn't mean anything. But where is the imbalance is that when we look at the contribution of African women in the GDP, is the lowest in the world. So on one hand, they have the highest participation in economic activity in the world. But on the other hand, they have the lowest contribution in the GDP. That is really a problem. And then, when you see that, you always ask the question, what if? What if they were able to achieve their full potential? And what is the reason for that? Because the majority of women, they are in the informal sector. 70% of businesses in the informal sector in Africa are owned or led by women. And because they are in the informal sector, their contribution is not well accounted for. And also in terms of productivity, their productivity is very low. This is one of the imbalance. The second one, we like to talk about food security, the agricultural sector. Women in Africa, they've understood that this is the way to go. Agriculture, food security. When you look at the workforce in the agricultural sector, women, they represent two-thirds of the agricultural sector in Africa, meaning every time when we see food in our plate, two-thirds of the women, they contributed to that food. But again, we have a huge imbalance. Land ownership. Women own only 3% of agricultural land in Africa. So on one hand, they represent two-thirds of the workforce in agriculture. But on the other hand, they own only 3% of the land. Again, what if? What if they had access to more land? Because, a study has shown that productivity increases when the farmers own land that they cultivate. So what if they could have, we're not asking to have all lands, but 3%, honestly, is too low. Can we push it to 10, to 15%? Another imbalance, income. Income versus how they spend that income. Again, in Africa, women reinvest 90% of their income in their family and their community. 90%. For men, it's 40% as a comparison. But at the same time, they have the lowest income in the world. So when you look at income by gender, by continent, African women, they come at the very bottom. But they're the one who reinvest the majority in their family, but at the same time, the one who have the lowest income. Another what if they could get more income? What will be the impact on the community, on their family, on the society, on our countries? Something has to be done. And then the last one, the last imbalance, entrepreneurship, and that's why we are here today. When it comes to entrepreneurship, Africa has the highest rate of female entrepreneurs also in the world. 25% of women in Africa have started their own business. In Asia is 6%, America 12%, in Europe 13%. So we can be proud of that. 25% of women in Africa have started their own business. Why? It's out of necessity. They cannot count on corporate job. So they understood that they have to create their own job. But again, do they have access to finance? Only 5% of loan application from women-owned or led businesses got accepted. 5%. For male is 40%. So do we see the gap again? They are very courageous. They want to start business, but no bank want to finance them. So this is also something that we need to change. But again, what are the solutions? And this is where AGF, we come into play to support women entrepreneurship in Africa. So how do we look at it? The way we look at it is that on one side, we have the demand side. The demand is from the SMEs, the women-owned or led businesses. They're the one demanding access to finance. And on the other hand, we have the supply. The supply are the banks, the financial institution. They are the ones supplying this financing to those entrepreneurs. But the link is broken. And our goal is how do we make sure that they can communicate, the banks, the entrepreneur, they can come together to get access to finance. Melanie, I like when you were saying earlier, you want funds. But the fund is there. It's not just moving to the right place. And this is what we want to unlock. And at AGF, we do on the demand side, we help women to formalize. Sometimes they don't want to formalize because of the tax issue, but we explain to them, these are the benefit from being formal, and also these are the benefit of not being formal. You avoid paying taxes, and you compare. We take them through the whole process, understanding how to do tax filing. We help them to improve bookkeeping. This is also very critical. They need to make sure that they do proper bookkeeping. The banks, they need that in order to do a proper risk assessment. We want them to be bankable, and this is the Lionesses of Africa has been one of our very key partners, supporting women across the continent to be bankable. We've signed an agreement, with the Lionesses in Africa in Kenya with Absa Bank. The job that they've been doing is just fantastic, giving, hope to those women that your project is bankable if we go through a certain process. We want them to acquire assets. We want to increase their productivity, to leverage on technology, to have access to market, and also to have access to finance and financial services. These are for the women, own or led businesses. But we need also to talk to the commercial bank, because we want both of them to come together. So with the commercial bank, what we do as AGF, we de-risk their exposure. So we cover from 50 to 75% to give them more comfort, telling them that the risk that you are taking is worth it. We also help the bank to reduce the interest rate, because risk is not the only challenge, it's also the cost. Sometimes it can be very costly. We want the bank to design tailored product that fits with the need of the women, fit with their family condition, so that they don't have maybe to go to the branches, fit with the fact that they cannot provide collateral, they cannot provide financial statement. And we want also the bank to meet the regulatory type of requirement. And we believe that by doing all that, all these imbalances, we will be able to reduce them. So as AGF, we have been able to unlock $1 billion of financing to women over the last 3 years, thanks to the support from different donors, including the government of Netherlands. We are very grateful for that, very thankful. That has been done through 191 financial institutions in 39 countries in Africa. We have supported 15,000 SMEs, and we will keep on working together with those financial institutions to do more. So as I conclude, one word, I would like to say one word is partnership. Partnership is key. No institution alone can achieve those challenging goals. And then we are committed to building a strong partnership with the financial institution, the banks, the SMEs, the entrepreneur, the regulator, the central bank, the government, the policymaker, to ensure that we unlock the potential of women-owned led of businesses in Africa. To the entrepreneur in the room, as I said earlier, you being here today means that you were able to beat so many odds. So this is your platform. Use this platform to showcase your vision, your impact, your growth potential, and your financial need. We are here to support you. Thank you for believing in what you do. Thank you for transforming our continent. You know, our continent has been like a bird trained to fly with one wing. We have to fly with both wings. You know, and that's why we need you. And again, it comes to the what if. You unlock your potential what if for our continent. Thank you to the organizer, and thank you once again to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You know, you were very welcoming. If your plan was to make sure that I come back to Netherlands, to Den Haag, I can say you have succeeded. I will be here all the time.
Thank you
so much.